We are here to see a man who has a plant machinery business. Not only does he have a plant machinery business, but he's refusing to pay ULEZ fines, which is obviously quite a big thing at the moment. So we're going to interview him about that, and also there's also those people that are chopping them down. You know, those big ULEZ camera people. It's called Blade Runner. So we'll also ask him a few questions about that. And we'll also be seeing all of his machines, because he's got massive big machines, and about his rally car, which has got a rally car wagon. So let's come and have a look and meet the guy and look at every single thing he owns. So come on. Hello.
How are you doing? You alright?
Yeah, you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Sorry you've had to wait. Nice to meet you. I can't wait. Nice to meet you. I'll let you in. I'll just pull this out of the way, then it's just easy to walk around. There you are.
So James, could you tell me just a little bit about your work, please?
Yeah, well, this is the sort of thing we work
wow.
on. Our work is 90% on site, which is why we're affected a lot by things like the ULEZ that we spoke about. 90% of our work is across the UK. We go up and down the country from Scotland to London, Manchester, Hull, just wherever the machines are really. We do have a small yard that we use. We do engine rebuilds and whatnot here. But like I said, the majority is on site, so we're very van dependent.
How long have you been going for?
I set up this business 5 years ago, maybe just touching 6 years ago. I just set off on my own with a van. We got really big, really fast. I ended up with 12 members of staff, and we've just come back down a bit now because I found it to be we were getting a bit unprofessional, and it was too hard to manage really on my own. So we're back down to like 7 now.
Can you just tell me a bit what this machine is used for and how it works?
I mean, various applications, but mainly sort of construction, muck shifting, earthworks, land redemption. This is a Cat D60. It's a very good customer of ours. It's Mr. Giles Potter Plant Hire. They hire machines out all over the UK. This particular machine, it's in for a fan fault, so we've been attacking this on site. We've had 2, maybe 3 days on site, and we've got to the stage where we're saying you need to bring it back to the workshop because it was quite hard on site, because obviously we've got to meet a lot of requirements on site, and it was very muddy, so we brought it back here where we'll fix it.
So on site, is that where they're actually working?
These are working on site, yeah. So this particular machine, it's come from York, where it's building new flood defences. Luckily, Giles and the Potter Plant Group have a lot of dozers. This is a dozer. So he's been able to replace it with a spare machine, so we can bring this one back here to work on it.
Get the job done.
It'll work, unfortunately. Oh yes, it's up and look. That's sort of what it's like in a dozer. How hard it is to be a dozer driver, because visibility is very poor.
Oh yeah, you have like a really, really small window, don't you?
You do, yeah. It's all engine. Basically, it's a tractor. It's a tractor with tracks on and a big blade. So it's just a small cab, and the drivers that drive them have to really know what they're doing.
Shut the door.
Put wood in oil, that's what we're saying in Yorkshire.
I don't think she can even shut.
Put wood in oil.
She can't shut the door, bless her.
Doesn't it shut?
It'll be locked out.
You've
So the driver can operate it.
You've broken the door, Matilda.
No, I didn't break it.
So the driver can have it open and it's not flapping around in the wind.
I didn't break it. And what's this?
That's a stock car, a Formula 1 stock car. We were racing last season. I only made 4 or 5 meetings. That wasn't my car. I've sold my car now, but this is a friend's car that he started building, and he's just left it here for the time being.
Can I have a little underneath?
You can do, yeah. There's not a lot to see, unfortunately. He didn't get very far. It sort of gives you a gist of what the car is. So it's oval racing. It's you know, racing around in a circle. Big horsepower, 700 horsepower.
Is that what they do? Just race around the saddle?
Yeah, and it's full contact. So it's all missing off here, but there's big bumpers on here. You know, you eat each other. It's full contact sport. But we've come away from that now. And my friend Simon, who's building this, he'll pick it up when he gets time. He's a busy lad, so he'll continue to build it and finish it.
So can we look at your rally car?
Yeah,
Oh, your
absolutely.
lovely wagon.
Yeah, this is his rally wagon. So we put his race car it back, and then it's got living for about 8 people.
Oh.
It's got his shower, hot water, full kitchen, fridge, all that sort of stuff, full cooker in it. So when we go away racing for a weekend, we just can look after ourselves, and just a nice weekend away with family.
Can we see where you put the car?
You can, but it's hydraulic. I'll have to turn it on.
So, I mean, obviously I'm not like a mechanic person, but just before we go inside, can I just talk to you a bit about the engine of the wagon?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know a lot about the engine on this wagon.
Oh, I was hoping you would have done.
I know it's 460 horsepower. It's a straight 6-cylinder Mercedes. This is not. It's a T-Reg. So the only like emission combating system on it, E80. So that's the engine after treatment. It doesn't have any at all. It's got an EGR valve on it, and that is it. It's a fantastic wagon, and it used to cart flowers.
Did it?
So it was a wagon in. This will have been originally a wagon in. I think they call it. Is it a wagon in tow? So it has like a trailer that looks like the same as the wagon.
Right.
It'll been going from Holland to England with flowers.
That's a fair difference, isn't it? From
Yeah,
flowers
and it's
to
been converted into a proper race wagon now.
Did you convert it or did you buy
No,
it?
I bought it as it sort of sits really. We've done a lot of work on it, don't get me wrong, but yeah, we bought it as a race wagon.
Shall I have a look inside now?
Absolutely, yeah. Hop in. We normally have a step that goes there, but it's inside. So yeah, excuse the mess. We have just got back from racing this weekend.
Oh, it's not.
So it does need a very good clean because it was like the Battle of Hastings this weekend. It rained and we were all packed in the field. So
How was the race?
very good. Yeah, I got a class second, and I think we're 9th overall. We could have done a lot better, but we had a lot of car problems, which is part of racing, isn't it? I suppose.
I can't climb up the step without putting the camera down. It's like high.
You want to?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's kind of recording.
Yes, as you can see, it's that makes 3 beds, but we use it as 2 singles.
There's loads of space up there.
There's a full shower and toilet in here with hot water. This where you're stood, that turns into a double bed. As you can see, my dog's been everywhere with the dog paws. And yeah, we've just got a bit of a kitchen, microwave, and we can sort of look after ourselves. I'll move that brush out your way.
Perfect.
You sort of need it if you're going away racing a lot because it's better that you can't sleep in a tent. To be fair, we used to do, but you don't get a good night's sleep, and then you wake up to race aching and
I
cold.
suppose racing is obviously a bit thing we need to mind on.
I mean, I'm still young, but I'm 40 and I don't really want to be sleeping on a cold floor before I'm racing. If I can help it, it's nice to have comfort of a wagon.
Must admit, I've actually stopped inside a tent because we've always had a wagon.
We have some tents up there just in case any friends come to join us and we run out of space at wagon. We just pick them up outside because we put like a big motorsport marquee up as well. The car parks in there and people can camp in there out of the weather as well. Yeah, and then my mum comes and the rest of my family, they've got a camper van there. So like parking a big square if you like and make a bit of a camp.
Like a little town.
Like a little town, yeah. Like a hamlet. Yeah, so it's nice to have the wagon. It's good. It's a luxury, but it's nice to have it.
Can we have a look at where the car goes?
Yeah, absolutely. Come with me. Yeah, so car goes it back here. Behind Greta.
Oh, you've got Greta on the back.
We've got Greta on the back. We love a bit of Greta. It's just a bit of humour. Right, if you excuse me, I'm gonna have to get in.
Okay, no worries.
Right, and then I'm gonna have to close the door.
Yeah.
I'll open these. Bear with me.
You should have said mind out the way, otherwise I'd have banged it.
Yeah. Go out underneath it.
Go, where's the people gone?
You're not stood under it, are you?
No, we're just that one.
Oh wow.
That's where the car goes.
Well, you've got a lot of space to fit, inside the car.
Again, we haven't really had time to sort of tidy this out. All the spare wheels go up there.
Well, it's a working thing, isn't it?
It's a working program. We don't have time because we're always busy at work. As you can see, there's only me here today because all my lads. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. No, not at all. No, it's not expensive to run. But yeah, we keep.
Do Doing the rallying.
Oh, the rallying. Not as expensive as stock cars was. No. You should have seen the car last week. We had it all done up because it was Land Rover show. There was actually 2 cars here. My brother's building one as well.
Oh wow. Oh, your wheel comes on and off.
Hey, yeah, you got to so you can get in and out.
Where's the jumper?
Does anybody ever say anything about the Greta thing?
They love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
Has anybody complain?
No, never. No, it's just a bit of humour, isn't it? If people can't take, it's like Ricky Gervais, isn't it? You know, if people can't take a joke, what's happening? It's a joke. I'm sure Greta's a really nice person in reality, but
She's never contacted you then?
no, not yet. No.
Wow. Gee.
I'd be more than happy to take her for a drive in this. See how she
I
like.
think she'd say yeah.
I think she'd enjoy it.
That's a V8, is it?
That's a S65 V8 out of an M3 BMW. It's running about 480 horsepower.
So what makes you think that? Is that a standard thing, or what makes you think I'll put one in from a BMW? Is it just something that?
Because it works on classes. So this is a class 4 car, class 8 car in my club, which means it's under 4 litres, live beam axles. So if I want to be under 4 litres, I need to think what is the most competitive 4 litre engine I can get and get the most horsepower and torque out of. So that's why people have different ideas of fitting different engines.
BMW, but somebody else might think Volvo or.
Yeah, they might fit Volvo, Rover V8s, Jaguar V8s, they're generally V8s in this sort of size car. There's a lot of different cars, and they go right down to sort of like your Nissan rally cars, you know, pop and bang. I mean, it's pops and bangs, I suppose, but yeah, everyone's. It's a great thing about the motorsport. Everything's so different. Everybody's got different ideas, and there's a lot of leeway to do what you like, really, as long as you meet certain safety aspects.
And what work have you done on this? Like with like.
It's ongoing constantly.
You built all this yourself?
I didn't build the car. No, this car's 3-year-old. It was built by Rakeway Motorsport, I believe, for a guy called Guy. He's a friend of mine. He raced it for 2 seasons, and then we bought the car off him to race. Right. As he's moved on to a different class, he's running different suspension now.
So inside this racing, do you have a co-driver? Because I mean, you've got.
Yes, you have to have a navigator, just like you do in a rally car. Which is obviously, this is where he sits and he does all your wipers and horn.
Oh, he does that?
Yeah, he does all that because I'm busy driving. And if we catch somebody up, because you're setting off with 15 minutes in between you. Yeah, like this weekend we caught a few people up. When you catch them up, he gets on horn to say, get out of the way, let us pass, we know we're faster than you. Because it's a non-contact sport, so you can't thump them out of the way. you've got to get past them safely. I mean, you can see that's the screen wash tank, is the very back tank. It's massive.
Right, what's that?
That's for screen wash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the screen wash, and that's petrol. So it does have it. I think it has about nearly 40 litres of screen wash, which is a bit overkill, really.
All for engine cooling, are they?
No, that's gearbox bait mainly. The engine cooler's in the front. The gearbox is just as sort of grunty and gets hot as the engine does, really.
And what are these little things on the side?
These are for me suspension. It's got very, very fancy suspension on it. 3-inch Fox over coils. So these are like accumulators where it has like a nitrogen pack inside. It's basically so when you land off a big jump, because you can jump this 7 foot and more, and when you land, instead of it bouncing all the way back up, it'll come up slow, you know, and you're not bouncing, then you're just nice and away. And
is this fiberglass?
Most of it's fiberglass, yeah, and aluminium, anything lightweight, really. It's got to be light and strong, but the strength for this is obviously in the roll cage and the chassis, which is a 3M Challenger. That's what it is.
Are you right to put that down so I can see it with it?
Yeah, of course. Also comes with a Greta on the back. Wow. Yeah, the car's name's Elmo, which is why I've got Elmo on. Again, it was all polished and like brand new a week ago because we did the York Land Rover show. But like I say, we literally got it out of wagon yesterday from racing. So this is how she's come back. So we've got a lot of work to do in 2 weeks when we're back out. Do you want me to start it up for you?
Oh yes, please.
There you go. of a show. So that sort of shows you what the racing is like and how I would jump it. I mean, look at that.
Oh, wow.
That's why the suspension's like it is.
Did that come down safely?
Yeah, a few times until I broke the front wheel off. That's just racing, and you know, it's same here. It gets so high, it's ridiculous. But it's a fast car. It's a really fast car.
So, what's the sort of top speed would you get to?
This weekend there was a long straight on there. I would definitely say over 100 mile an hour.
Oh, wow. And what you averaging about 60 then?
Anywhere between sort of 30 and 60, depending how hard the terrain is.
Spare seats.
They're just as you go on, you collect them, don't you? I suppose. That's my brother's. It's a different sort of car, but the same class. So this will be a Class 8, and we're building this now. So this is a Tomcat.
Oh, wow. You know when you said about Rover V8, is that the old Rover V8?
That's an old 3.9 Rover V8 in that one, yeah.
Ooh, what's happened there?
That will be racing in Scotland. The stage was 8 miles long, and we got punches right at the beginning. And because it's racing, you don't just stop. So we carried on racing.
So you ran them on?
I was doing 100 mile an hour on them.
No way.
Yep.
Wow.
Just what I look like to look. So we've kept them a little bit like trophies, aren't they?
Yeah, you need to frame them, don't you? Put them on the wall.
So, I mean, this is obviously a massive big engine. What's this off?
How did they end up with that engine? That's out of a Liebherr 944 material handler. There's nothing wrong with the engine, but we've saved it because the only thing that is wrong with it is liner seals. So eventually, when I'm quiet, you know, I can pull that out and we'll rebuild that to sell to a customer.
It's also missing the vehicle bit, isn't it?
Yeah. This is all like when we've done tier changes on engines. So obviously we exhaust after treatment. You've got different tiers. So this is off a tier 4 final AdBlue, and this is all the customer didn't want a tier 4 final, they wanted a tier 4. So all the stuff's been removed, and then we've got end up with a pallet of parts left over.
What's your spare parts? What's that as well?
This here,
yeah,
it's just a saw. We don't really use it often, so it's just sort of sat in corner until we do use it. Really, it's a steel saw. And then there's bits I've cut off my car from racing. I bent an axle, so that's my old axle. It wasn't looking like that. I'll have to cut the brackets off to put onto the new axle that's just been fitted on the car. So that's what we changed last week after racing.
I also spotted this massive big claw.
All right, okay, so that's a scrap grab from a scrapyard. That's one of us.
That's come from a scrapyard.
It has, yeah. It come here for all these shiny bits you can see. It's had all pins and bush.
So it's getting you repaired.
It's been repaired. It's ready. It's ready to collect now.
Oh, wow.
This will be getting fitted back on the machine this week. It's had all new pins and bushes.
And so do you fit that back on the machine?
We'll fit that back on the machine. There's nothing complicated to it. It just hangs on the machine basically.
Just the weight.
And that's what works. You know, it's a material handler, so that's what's moving biomass, power stations, scrap, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've seen them when we've gone to Morecambe Metals, haven't we? They like sweep up with them as well, don't they?
You've been to Where Metals?
Morecambe Metals.
Morecambe Metals is one of my customers.
Yeah, they use it to like sweep up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they'll grab they'll save all the wire,
Yeah.
like wire, and they'll grab it as a big sponge and use that then to sweep up.
Yeah, they do
sweep
do
up,
that.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's for the customers that are coming in really, because all the machines on site are solid wheels, so they're not going to get punches. No. It's for people coming in the vans, you see, and people like us, you know, going there to fix it, just to keep it tidy, really.
So thank you for showing us around all your vehicles. It's been an absolute treat. But obviously also there's this big thing about ULEZ, and now you're actually standing up for it. So can you just tell me what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm not particularly I don't agree with ULEZ. I'm not particularly standing up against the idea of ULEZ, although I do think it's a waste of time, and I can go into them facts if you like. What I'm standing up to is the ridiculous fines and the time scale. So the problem we've seen is, because we're covering the UK, not all of my vans are Euro LEZ compliant, Euro 6 is it? A couple are. And my guys don't always know when they've drove into a clean air zone, because some aren't well marked. My guys are busy, they work a lot of hours, you know, and they'll drive in and nobody knows that they've done it. Because everyone's different how they do it. Birmingham, Sheffield, wherever, London, everyone's a different different how they run. Nobody knows. You can't go online and check if you've been in a clean air zone. So 3 weeks later, we just get a letter, and there's the original £12 charge plus £170 of fines. So it's the fines that are stupid because we didn't know. I'd pay the £12. It's not a problem. I can get around that. £12 in a massive deal, but it's the way that they handle it, the way that the infrastructure for it is just it's totally wrong, and it's costing people a lot of money. I think it's making billions of pounds in revenue, which don't get spent on cleaning up anywhere, does it? Which I'm sure if when you're driving back to where you come from, look at the side of the motorway. I dare say you'll see a lot of litter, bottles, ratchet straps, just general rubbish really, and overgrown grass and bushes, dirty signs. So where's the money being spent, which is also annoying.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily where the money is. I think it might possibly be to do with like travelling, like the underground or something like that. But the only thing is I thought why, because they're saying about giving the money back to people to get these cars. But then what's that money come from? It's very confusing.
It's very confusing. I'm a big believer in sort of kidology, really. And if you want the general public to see that the money's been spent, even though it's not the best thing that could be done for the environment, you start by just making it look tidier, don't you?
Well, they could give it to these like charities.
Charities, yeah, they could give it to charities.
Charities
They could get grass cut around cities, get all the signs cleaned, and bus stops and stuff, and just make it generally tidier and nicer.
I suppose when you're saying about the fact of not able to see the signs, I suppose when you go into a city, there is stuff absolutely everywhere.
Everything's going on. You're concentrating on road, and not only that, like I said, our engineers, they don't work well within the legal limit of hours, but they work a lot of hours. And when you drive into a breakdown, you're thinking about that machine, what it could be, because when you get out your van,
to find it as well.
Yeah, when you get there and you're lost, you try to find it. You're looking at your sat nav in your van. You're looking at your sat nav that's bolted into your phone on your dashboard.
Well, like, for example, today, I was like, I didn't concentrate on the road because I was looking. I mean, obviously, I wasn't driving.
Exactly.
I was looking for that, but also your people only have one person; they don't have two people.
That's exactly right.
So many things going on. Then you've got to think of the signs. You think, hang on a minute, am I supposed to be here?
Yeah, and like I said, there's no way of checking it. There should be. If there were a national database, you could just on the Gov site, you could log on to these are my vans that aren't Euro 6 compliant, and put your registrations in, and it would automatic. It'd be easy, and nobody would get fined. But it's blatantly obvious that they don't do that because they're making so much money out of these fines. I mean, it's literally billions of pounds a year. Yeah, so I said I don't really agree with ULEZ, and the reasons that I don't agree with ULEZ. And obviously we put a post on Facebook that's got some massive traction about these fines, and it's so plain to see how angry people are. Most people, either general public or tradesmen, and you can see how angry they are. And going back to this sort of thing, I read a lot of the comments, and one of the comments was, well, in COVID, London, the air pollution and air temperature dropped massively. So I agree with that, totally. It did, and it did that because there were less vehicles on road, not because of anything to do with what vehicles are on road. If you were to fill London with Euro 5 compliant cars, and it was sat in traffic, ticking over, idling, you'd get the same pollution if it were full with Euro 6 cars and no Euro 5s. It'd be exactly the same. Because, as again, we've got a family MOT centre, so we're doing emission testing quite regular. And the difference between, a good example is these two vans outside. The yellow van is a Euro 6 compliant V6 Sprinter. The one next to it there, this Iveco, that's a Euro 5. Now, if I were to run an emissions test on both of these vans, what a cool guy. What a cool man. Yeah. If I did I don't know, it's like wacky races. Yeah, if we did an MOT on these now, and we did the emissions testing, there'd be absolutely nearly nothing between them. I'm talking 0.02. But one's allowed to drive into London, and I don't get a fine, and one isn't. And that is the madness you're up against. I find it amusing that they've offered this scrappage scheme. So I think you get £2,000 towards to scrap your car, a perfectly good car, to buy a new car that you're going to be paying tax on to buy. So it's all in the government's favour for you to do that. You're scrapping an old car, buying a new car, paying more tax, and that new car's already got a massive carbon for the last decade. They're ridiculously clean. That's why we are one of the cleanest countries in the world. I think with 2%, is it our carbon? That we
I think so.
Yes, 2%. We emit as a country,
like 10%,
something like that. Yeah, which I know we get a lot of things produced over there. That's another story altogether, isn't it? But our vehicles, there's nothing wrong with the ones we're running. I think it's a bit of a hoax, really. It's certainly a money making scheme. There's nothing wrong with the way we're doing things. The only one true way to combat any clean air in cities is public transport being better, cheaper, more, you know, and more reliable for public. Rules with classic cars, but a good example is on that post that we put on Facebook, somebody put a picture of their classic wagon. The engine was built in 1948, and they'd just done an emissions test on that, and that was 0.03 above Euro 6 compliance. So that shows you how close an old engine is, you know. As long as it's well maintained and looked after, that's the running clean. It's like my race car. My race car is I need that fuel for horsepower, you know. And if it were running poorly, it wouldn't be powerful, would it? So when my car's racing, it was putting out very limited emissions.
So I think if London's obviously the one that's getting these low emission zones, but it's moving up country. And
Leeds isn't a clean air zone yet, thank God. But ones we go to a lot of Birmingham, Sheffield, Bradford's a clean air zone now, which affects my brother a lot. My brother drives an old van; he's got to go all the way around now to go to work.
Not making a lot
I was just about to say,
yeah. Exactly, yeah. It's sort of 6 and 2 3, isn't it? So he drives. He don't want to pay the daily charge, and I don't blame him. So he drives all the way around Bradford, literally an extra 15 to 20 miles probably to get to work because he works in Tadcaster. It's actually technically it's a business. It's the same as that little white van there. It's a little transit connect, which will put out absolutely naff all emissions. But yeah, you can't blame the lad for not wanting to spend an extra £12 a day to.
I suppose if you think about it, going to work, spending that £12, he's not going to get as much money as he earns.
Spending that £12 doesn't make the air any cleaner, and it also makes him further away from affording a newer van that is compliant.
Exactly.
So it doesn't help anybody. And if he didn't pay one of the fines or he missed it because he was busy, he'll get stabbed with a £200 fine. So he's even further away from buying a new car.
If you've seen on the internet, and there's Blade Runners, isn't there? You must have seen that chopping some of them down, chopping the
Oh yeah.
I've seen that, and people are painting them and all sorts of.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
But now I've seen on it that they're taking number plates. Their number plates have been changing them. Do you think this could just become complete anarchy? Because once the number plates start coming up and everything, you then could have people say, "Well, I don't need to get insured now." I don't.
Yeah, it snowballs.
Sadiq Khan has just completely opened a can of worms that could just cause the country billions of pounds, and it could become quite dangerous.
He has, yeah. It's going to snowball, and when people think it's okay to start swapping number plates on cars, you think it's harmless until somebody gets killed or there's an accident or a burglary of a serious crime or somebody's kidnapped and they've got, you can go on forever, can't it? That's going too far. Taking the camera down is a sign, and Sadiq Khan for his city, you should be listening to that and thinking why is everybody so angry about it. I watched a poll yesterday, and I believe it's over 60% of Londoners don't want the new expansion. So you need to listen to that.
Yeah,
it's quite a big one.
And some people say that it's obviously criminal damage that people are taking these cameras down. But other people say it's criminal damage that he's put the signs up and the cameras. And isn't there a thing that's happened where he's actually said the signs are not lawful now? Has that not happened in court?
I believe I've not followed that side of it too much. It is criminal damage, you can't deny that, and the guys that are doing it, it's their own risk. But it's a massive sign, and it shows obviously they're getting a lot of backing off the public, aren't they? Yeah. So people don't want these cameras up. They're not a nice sight to start with. It's just another infringement on your personal daily lives, and they shouldn't be there. So
do you think that I might take it extremes, but you think about slowly factor the cameras and the number plates and then maybe even facial ID. Do you think it will get to the point where the cameras everywhere and every single move you make will be completely controlled?
It's like that now. You can't do anything without anybody knowing about it. And it sounds awful, but I think a lot of it, we are our own worst enemies. Social media and whatnot, it's such a great thing. It's been great for my business, but everything you do is online. And like when you're walking around in a city or town, everything, you can't do anything without somebody catching you on a picture, a video, CCTV. It's getting quite a lot into it. And I don't think we're ever going to stop that sort of thing happening. It's the way it's going. It's not nice. It's nice to go back to being simple, really.
Making a stance.
People are making a stance, yeah. I mean, it needs to start and with that, and continue with this ULEZ. That's where it needs to stop, really. CCTV is a different thing altogether in cities. I think we do need that, and it has caught a lot of
If
criminals.
it's for crime, it's
It's
like
caught, they are criminals, aren't they? People
Yeah.
that are driving a van that's a year out of date for its ULEZ, Euro 6 isn't a
Yeah.
criminal. It's just somebody that can't afford a new van, or has got a perfectly good van that he doesn't need to change.
I suppose also people also mean like my vehicles. I have a personal connection with them. You know, I even call them names. You know, you have a personal connection
Yeah.
with vehicles. So
Yeah, I absolutely love my van. I mean, my van is Euro 6 compliant, but that's not why I bought it. I bought it because it was the right van at the right time at the right money, and I bought the van. But yeah, I didn't even think about what Euro whatever. It was irrelevant, you know. Yeah.
Sorry. So what will you do when they carry on and they demand the money basically, and you're going to get caught things?
I will happily, as I put in me on our business status, I'll happily pay the charge that is due, whether it be £10 or £12 or whatever it is. But the fines that we are paying, we're not going to pay them. And if they're going to pursue that, I want me to go to court, I'll go to court and explain why I'm not paying them. And if they want to pursue it after that, well, they're only going to affect a business, and I'll end up either closing my business and moving on back to working on my own. So people are going to lose jobs, and I'm not earning as much money, therefore not paying as much tax, not buying as many parts. So they're only shooting themselves in the foot. I've got to a point.
They care? They're going to do anything?
If a lot of tradespeople like me, if decide to do that, they will care because of the amount of money that we spend. I'll probably spend £700,000-800,000 a year on parts and stuff. That's all got VAT and tax on it. If a lot of people, if it happens to a lot of people in the country, well, they're not going to have a lot of revenue coming in.
Obviously, you've done this post up on Facebook. Have you had a lot of support with it, or a lot of stance with it, and people against you, or what?
The people against what we're doing is tiny. I mean, I'm not going to go into statistics. I don't know them, but I'd say it was less than 1% out of the 20-odd thousand people that have sort of interacted with that post are all with us totally. Again, I think some people take it out of perspective and they're not reading what I've written. It's the fines I'm talking about, not the daily charge. I didn't realise when we made the post it was the same day that all this expansion in London would come about. So I think that's why it gained a lot of traction. It was timing. I personally put that post on that day because I received a fine from Sheffield. That's why I put my post on.
How many fines have you got pending?
Pending at the minute. To be fair, none. They all got paid. It's from that point on.
Right,
now
okay.
We're not paying anymore.
Right.
So no, we've no fines at all now.
Right.
Is that it?
Anything else you'd like to ask? I think it's been wonderful.
Anything you want to say?
No, thank you for coming.
Thank you very, very much for inviting me. It's been an absolutely wonderful treat looking around all your vehicles and cars, and wonderful, and hearing about what you've got to say about ULEZ. So thank you very much.
Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Cheers.